Alright, what is up? Today we're going to be ranking all of these Sekiro bosses from worst to best, and I want to clarify real quick. This isn't a easiest to hardest list. No, this is a personal list just based off of bosses I like the, most, and then the bosses that I fucking hate. And they'll be at the bottom. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and hit the noties because I'm going to be doing a video on Dark Souls 3 soon, talking about how I think it's an absolute trash game. It's not an absolute trash game, but I personally don't like it, so I'm going to be making a video about that soon. So yeah, go ahead and hit the sub button, but without further ado, let's get into it. Coming in is our first F tier category. We got the folding screen monkeys. Now, this is pretty easy if you've played the game many times before, you've done this fight before, you know the exact route to do. You gotta ring the bell here for the sound monkey, you gotta chase the purple monkey into the void, and then for the red one, you gotta pray. You gotta chase him around and just get him. This fight is a terrible gimmick in my opinion. It's one that, I think shouldn't even be in the game. It's like just a bunch of chasing and all of them die in one hit. It's just, everyone hates this fight. There's not a lot to, say about this fight. It's just bad, and that's why it's going in the F tier. This is our first D tier fight of the video, and that is because of one specific move. If you know this move right here, if you've played this game before, you know exactly why this fight is going in the fucking D tier category. I have never gotten mad at Sekiro until this fucking fight, bro. Dude, his moves are so dumb. Like, half of them are easy, and then all of a sudden he just does that grab attack, which I didn't know that you could deflect in the first, 5 playthroughs of this game. So, yeah, I had to just keep dodging it, and it auto-locking onto me, and it killing me in one shot, because I was playing on the harder mode. So yeah, that fight is going in the fucking D tier. Another D tier fight, for obvious reasons, we have the bull fight. And I'm counting this bull and the bull at the palace, the purple one, in the same category, D tier. This fight is so annoying when you get to it and you know that you just have to do it, you just have to get through it. It's just one of those fights where it doesn't make sense for the game, like it doesn't make sense for Sekiro, like Demon of Hatred doesn't make sense. Once you have played Sekiro many times, it becomes kind of easy and you can kind of just breeze through it. But those first couple of playthroughs, man, this fight is so annoying, and it's getting a D tier. Our first C tier of the video is going to drunkards in general. This fight, it makes sense for Sekiro. It's a bigger enemy, but it has a sword, so it still has the combat. There's moves where you can Makiri counter, there's moves that you can jump over and you can hit him. In this fight specifically, with the backup that you get, it's kind of fun to, have someone with you, because that's like the only time in the game where this actually happens. He's got a couple moves where he applies like fire and stuff to his sword with the different various types of them. But honestly, I don't hate them. I think they're kind of cool. They do a shit ton of damage to you though. They're not cool enough to get like a B or an A, because they're still kind of fucking annoying because of their long sweep attacks, but they're not the worst. So they're just middle of the pack, C tier. Don't hate them, don't love them. The only reason why this guy, centipede giraffe looking motherfucker, is not going in D or F tier is because he doesn't give me a headache like the other ones do. This one, it's not a good fight by any means. You just spam L1 until you break his posture, and then you crucial attack him, or whatever the fuck it's called. Jump over him a couple times. This fight is not good, but it just is, you know what I mean? It's just one of those you get to, you have to spam L1 a bunch of times and then just kill him and move on. It's not amazing, it's not great, but it's not a headache, so it's getting a C tier. This is our first B tier of the video. I honestly really like the design of these guys. They're so fucking sick. When they get introduced to you in the game and you think that they're just a normal enemy, but they like scale up the difficulty a lot. This is the first time you encounter one of them, and if it's your first time ever fighting them, you are going to be in trouble, man, because the difficulty is scaled up. Even though you get the free jump on this one specifically, he can still beat your ass when you actually have to fight him. I really love the design of them though, and they're not too hard to beat. You know, you got to parry a bunch of their kicks, but they're still really fucking cool. So they're gonna B tier. Coming in at our next B tier fight, we have the spear bosses. Now, I honestly don't think that fighting these guys is the most enjoyable, but I love the design of them. They're so sick to me. I mean, the moveset is pretty simple. You just gotta dodge his like big wind up attack and then get a couple Makiri counters off. But you know, they're kind of hard at first because if you're new to the game, these enemies are very, very different from the rest of the enemies. Like, he has a very unique and special moveset, like designed to mess you up a bunch of times, and he's kind of hard to learn your first playthrough, but once you played the game a couple of times, it's pretty simple. He's not a big boss by any means, but he still gets the B tier just because of how cool of a design he has and the uniqueness that he brings to it. So he's not bad, but he's not amazing. He's going to get a B tier. Now, I was debating putting, this fight in a C tier just because of the fact that it's so simple. It's kind of another gimmick boss. He only really does one move, but that one move trips up new players so much because it is so fast, and they don't realize that all they have to do for this fight is get the timing down of that one move. But the reason I put him B instead of C is because it is extremely satisfying once you figure out that that is the only move that you have to deflect, and then you just beat him immediately off of parrying twice really quickly. And it's just really satisfying. So it's not going to get a C tier. I don't think it's mid. I honestly think it's a pretty cool little fight. So it's going to get a B tier. Coming in next, we have the gank fight. Well, it's an option for you to do a gank fight, but I have it as a gank fight every time with the one mind controlling thing that you get. But this is going in as a B tier just because it is just another, normal one of these purple ninjas, except for the fact that you can mind control, one of the normal enemies and have him fight with you, and it just leads to like such a sick battle between the three of you that I honestly love this fight. I never skip it, and I always have to do it, in my runs, just because of how fucking cool it is to me. So it's gonna be tier. It's nothing too special, but that little fact that you get a third person to help you is just sick to me, so it's gonna be tier. Okay, we are now done with the mini boss section, and we have moved on to the main bosses. I count the ogre as a main boss because it is non-skippable. You have to fight the ogre to progress in the game, so I count it as a main boss. And how do I feel about this boss? Well, I'm honestly split between it. I think that the bosses in this game where you just have to smack and never deflect and run around them are kind of dumb. But in this case, I don't hate this fight. I think it is a little satisfying, besides the fact that you get one-shotted when you get grabbed. And the grabs can sometimes grab you even though you're not like really in the range of it. Like, you get grabbed when you shouldn't get grabbed. So I'm actually going to put this as a C tier fight. I don't love this fight, but I don't hate it at the same time. Another fight that is not really a main boss, but you cannot skip it. And I mean, I wouldn't skip this fight for the life of me, man. This is one of the coolest gimmick fights that FromSoft has ever made. I mean, this fight is so unique. It's one of those where you have to beat the shit out of him and parry him until you get the posture down, and then you can try to throw him off the ledge. This is a great fight. Everybody loves this fight, to be honest. It's a little tricky to get him kicked off a couple of times because you have to be right on the edge. But, I mean, him falling and hitting the ground and screaming Robert just makes this fight so complete. It's such a sick fight, and it's going to get an A tier for that reason. Coming in at our next major fight, we have the Guardian Ape Gank. And honestly, I love this fight. I think it is so sick when you just get pounded against the wall by these two monkeys for no reason. I hate this fight, man. If you couldn't tell, this fight is getting a big fat fucking F tier. This fight sucks, man. I try my best to avoid this fight every time. I try to go through this area before killing Guardian Ape so I don't have to do this fight. You know, I had to get footage for the video, so that's the only reason why, you know, I had to do it. But my God, man, this fight sucks because, like, you have to run away so much. You know what I mean? Like, one is chasing you, you're trying to get hits off, and here comes the other one jumping in to slam on you while you're trying to, you know, do the littlest amount of damage that you can. I love the Guardian Ape normal fight that you'll see later, but oh my gosh, when you have to verse both phases, it is so annoying. But at least it's satisfying when you get the kill, you know what I mean? But it is still an F tier. Next up, we have Lady Butterfly, and this is honestly a staple of Sekiro. It's one of those that you almost never skip, unless you're doing, like, you know, 5 playthroughs like I had to do for the Kai Cenat video. Lady Butterfly is such a good fight to, like, introduce you to the mechanics and make you just get good at the game. It also does a really good job of introducing you to your prosthetic ability of the shurikens, because you use it so much in this fight to get free damage. I think the fact that she also, once you kill her in her first phase and you think it's over, but it was actually just, you know, her decoy and she jumps down and you fight the real one, I think that's pretty sick. My only negative I have about this fight is the fact that you need Snapseed to make all the, like, little summons go away. I didn't know that on my first couple of times playing this game, so I just had to deal with them. Now that I know it, it's a lot easier, but yeah, that little fact was pretty annoying my first couple of times. For that, it's not going to get an S tier, it's not going to get an A tier, and I think that Lady Butterfly is a good, solid B tier fight. Coming up next, we have the normal Corrupted Monk. And I was really debating on where I was going to put this in the video. I didn't know, because I really liked this fight when I started off Sekiro. This was in, like, my top 5 favorite fights because of the arena, how cool the Ghost Spirit looked, you know, the moveset I didn't hate. I thought it was pretty easy to learn. So it was like a relaxing fight and, like, a really cool arena. Recently, I started thinking that this fight isn't great, just because of the fact that it is 1 health bar. It's a pretty easy fight. I mean, if you have Mortal Blade by this point, which you probably will, you just do so much damage to it, and it's, like, such a guaranteed easy fight that I don't think I can rate it anything other than a B tier. And the fact that you fight another one with 3, you know, health lives later, it just makes this fight seem so insignificant, and there could have been such a cooler, you know, thing here in place, so it's got to give it a B tier. Coming up next, we have the Divine Dragon, and this is another one of those where I honestly don't know how to feel about it, because it is a gimmick fight, but it is such a sick gimmick fight. I mean, it's the prettiest fight in the game by far, and it has this game's version of the Moonlight Greatsword. The first phase of this fight, where you killed a bunch of, like, little tree things by jumping on a tree and then jumping off and doing, like, the critical hit, it's kind of weird. I honestly don't really agree with it. I think it'd be better if there was just 2 phases to this fight specifically. Then again, watching this back, I remember how much I hate going from tree to tree, trying to get the lightning perfectly to, you know, hit him. The only thing really cool about this fight is that final hit that you get. So even though this fight is gorgeous, like, it's actually so sick looking, the actual game mechanic for it, I honestly hate. It's not that much, like, fun fighting him, but it's such a cool, like, spectacle. So I'm gonna have to give it a B tier. Coming up next, we have my boy Gyobu. And honestly, man, I love this fight. The moveset is kind of annoying because it's kind of unpredictable because it's on a horse. But this fight is getting a big fat S tier. This is our first S tier fight of the fucking video. Because the first time I fought this dude, and I had the subtitles on, or not the subtitles, I had it in, you know, Japanese, and he comes riding in screaming to start the fight. I mean, I was in awe, man. I was like, this is sick. It's what really got me into the game. You know, I was just playing before it. I was like, okay, it's challenging, it's cool. But when you get to this part, it really feels like a Souls game. You know what I mean? Like the boss feels like a Souls game boss, and the use of the grappler to get to him and doing the damage is so fun. And then the final blow that he does with the horse, you know, nudging you off of him. I think that this like brings so much like actual emotion and like thought into this fight. It's just so sick. I love this fight. So that's gonna be our first S tier of the video. Coming up next, we have the second time that you fight Genichiro up in the tower. This fight, honestly, I think there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it teaches you the base mechanics of the game. It has 3 phases, and that third phase is so sick. It introduces the lightning, you know, aspect of it and the deflection of lightning. This being your first playthrough, he's going to be a pretty challenging fight just because he has all the game mechanics with it. But a seasoned player who has played this game, you know, more than like 2 or 3 times will get to this fight and just breeze past it. It's going to be so easy for him. And that's honestly really nice because it is just like a cool spectacle fight, especially this third phase here. It's pretty satisfying to counter his Makiri counters and the lightning. So a seasoned player who does not find Genichiro hard at all will just have fun with this fight. And then those new players, they're going to learn quickly how to play this game because he will smack you around that first time playing. He is no joke, except for your phase jab and you just beat it first try because you're a god. But, you know, besides that, pretty cool fight. I give Genichiro here an A tier, not S tier, just because, you know, past your first time fighting him, he's pretty simple. So, gonna go with a good A tier. Okay, I got bad news. Share Factory is a piece of shit, dog shit, terrible shit app. So I can only record one more audio thing. I've reached my limit. With that being said, I'm just gonna thug it out, and for the rest of the video, I'm just gonna make a non-stop recording. So let's do it. Corrupted Monk is getting an S tier. I love Corrupted Monk fight just because of the atmosphere alone. I mean, this, like, besides the fact that he can like basically one-shot you with like most of his moves, this arena and the design of the Corrupted Monk is probably my favorite in the entire game. Like, aesthetic wise, this is my favorite fight in the entire game. It's the same moveset as, you know, the mini version of him, the ghost version of him, and it's a moveset that I love. I love fighting it every single time. The second phase, it's basically just a 2-stage fight because the second phase you just, you know, jump on his head and hit his health bar down. So it's a sick fight. This is getting an S tier. Moving on, yeah, we got Emma the Gentle Blade. I wish I could stop, thanks Share Factory. But yeah, Emma the Gentle Blade, F tier. This fight fucking sucks. I hate this fight, man. Every time I have done this fight, I have not enjoyed myself whatsoever. I don't know why people think Emma is easy, bro. Like, she kicks my fucking ass, and then you have to go right on to the final fight of the game from her. Like, genuinely, I think that this is one of the worst fights in the entire game. I hate fighting Emma, so she is getting an F tier. Fuck Emma. And then right after that, you get Ishin. This Ishin fight, in my opinion, is way harder than the normal ending Ishin that you do, the 3-stage one. That is like light work compared to this fight. I died so many times fighting this version of Ishin compared to the other one where I like second try it every time. This fight is getting like an A tier difficulty wise, but for my sanity's sake, it's getting a D tier. So take with that what you will. Yeah, this one's getting like a D tier or like a C tier in general, but I don't even know. I hate that fight. Now, Owl Father, I'm ranking Owl Father normal fight, and then this fight with the Owl the same, you know. It's like basically the same fight. This one's just a little bit harder where he implements the Owl and like a couple different more moves. This one is obviously harder than the other fight with Owl, but I'm gonna rank them together just because I wanted to save room for the video, and they're pretty similar. This fight, I honestly love. I think that this fight is great, like just movement wise. I think the flow of the fight is really satisfying. It's fun. Once you learn it, it's, you know, a long fight to do. You just kind of got to wait for his openings, just like every other fight, except I love the combat with this. The sword fighting, the clanging back and forth is just sick. And the fact that you're fighting your own father, where it has like emotions behind it, I think it makes it a great fight. So this fight, the Owl Father fight, is getting an A tier, and then the normal Owl fight is getting a B tier, just because I think that there are better fights ahead. And speaking of which, we have my favorite fight of the entire game, the Guardian Ape fight. This fight, in my opinion, is the best fight in the entire game. The feeling that I got beating this fight for the first time is unrivaled by the rest of these fights in the game. I love the moves that you have to dodge. I love the feeling that you get when you're hitting him, like, you know, when he's open. The intensity of this fight is just fantastic. You know, after you learn the couple of moves that you have to dodge, like the poop throw and the grabs, and then you just get free hits off on him, I think this fight is really fun to do. I think that this is like one of the only fights in the game where like you have to constantly be running around the arena, which some people don't like. I honestly don't mind, but the feeling that I got beating Guardian Ape for the first time is absolutely unrivaled. I mean, it's a fantastic fight. Taking a break here from ranking the fights though, I do have to say I will not be including the Demon of Hatred in this video because the file got corrupted. It's completely messed up. So we're gonna do a little ranking of him here. Let's give Demon of Hatred a solid F tier. Why the fuck is Demon of Hatred even in this game? Like, everyone has complained about Demon of Hatred for so long just because it doesn't fit in Sekiro at all. You know, it's like, it's just one of those fights where it should have been maybe just like the sculptor or like with a sword or something like that. You know, there's not a lot of parrying involved. It's a lot of dodging, and then you use the umbrella, which I never got into using the umbrella in these fights, so I never used it. I kind of just thugged it out the entire time. And when I finally beat him, I was just glad that it's over. I didn't feel the accomplishment of it. I was just glad that I could finally be done with that fight. So it's getting a D tier. But Guardian Ape, first phase and second phase, absolute S tier. I mean, the second phase is a lot easier than the first one, but the satisfaction level for me does not go down at all. I think this fight is absolutely amazing, and every time I get to it, I'm excited. So S plus for Guardian Ape. This is by far the best fight in the game. And last but not least, we have Ishin, the Sword Saint. Now, I mean, obviously this fight's getting an S tier. I mean, this arena is gorgeous. The fight itself is fantastic. Like, it's an amazing way to end the main storyline of this game. You know, this is like the default ending, and in my opinion, the best ending, because you get to do this fight. The first phase is honestly pretty easy in my opinion. I have no problem getting past the first phase at all. Not, you know, even mentioning Genichiro, because he just gets absolutely shit on. But the second phase is where the level of difficulty actually gets hard. I think him with the spear is probably one of the hardest fights in the actual game. Yeah, and then he gets to his third phase, and with the lightning, it makes it a lot easier, in my opinion, because you get so much free damage from him. But, I mean, this fight is absolutely gorgeous. This is easily one of the best fights in the entire game, and for that reason it is getting an S tier. And that is the end of the video. If you liked, please like and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more Souls videos in the future. Coming up next, we got a Dark Souls 3 one. So thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.